A pleasant good afternoon to each and every one of you, and we do apologize for our late start due to technical difficulties. Let me welcome you to the final debate in the third Speakers Regional Youth Debating Competition, and I'm sure you will agree with me. It's been quite an interesting few weeks. So, in the effort of saving time, let me just get straight into things. Our teams this afternoon, the proposing team for this afternoon session is the Rumfeld Life Improvement Center Youth Ministry. This is a vibrant Christian based group that is passionate about faith, fellowship, and service. And it is a space where young people can explore their purpose, deepen their relationship with God, and uplift one another. Through engaging discussions and fun activities, the group strives to inspire and empower the next generation. The first speaker for this team would be Ms. Shanome Milling, 24 years old from East Rumvelt, Georgetown. The second speaker, Ms. Serena Hope, 23 years old from East Rumvelt, Georgetown. And the third speaker, Ms. Chantel Davis Daniels, 27 years old from North Rumvelt, Georgetown. The opposing team is the St. Joseph Law Society, and this is a distinguished group dedicated to advocating for justice, upholding integrity, and promoting professional ethics in the legal field. Committed to fostering a community of aspiring legal minds, the Society provides a platform for intellectual growth, ethical discourse, and service to others. Through mentorship, legal discussions, and outreach initiatives, members strive to make an meaningful impact while honoring the principles of fairness and accountability. With humility and dedication, the St. Joseph Law Society stands as a beacon of excellence, inspiring future legal professionals to serve with wisdom, compassion, and unwavering ethical standards. Their first speaker is Ms. Rikita Ambrose, 17 years old from Kitty, Georgetown. Their second speaker, Mr. Brendan Prince, 18 years old from Good Fortune, West Bank, Demerara. And their third speaker, Ms. Rakaya Daly, 17 years old from All Boys Town, Georgetown. Our moot for this session: the changing roles of women in society have done more harm than good. I now declare this debate open and I call on the first speaker of the proposition, representing the Rumfeld Life Improvement Center Youth Ministry, Ms. Shanome Milling, to make her team's presentation.
Modern society told women that they can be anything, and so they became everything: breadwinners, caretakers, leaders, and nurturers. But the world around them didn't shift, and so what followed wasn't liberation, but burnout. Madam Chair, esteemed judges, worthy opposition, and attentive audience, good afternoon. I rise as the first speaker of the proposition, firmly supporting the moot. The changing roles of women in society have done more harm than good. Today, I will define the key terms, interpret the moot, and lay the foundation for our case by analyzing the emotional burden and mental health issues created by this change, particularly by focusing on how it has led to stress, burnout, and imbalance within society. The second speaker will explore how the changing roles of women have contributed to the erosion of the family structure, social fragmentation, and the decline of child well being. And finally, our third speaker will strengthen our argument by exploring the rise in gender based friction, including male underachievement and the increase in domestic violence. Firstly, allow me to define the key terms. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, changing roles refers to a state of becoming different in position or purpose that someone or something has in a situation, organization, or relationship. The American Psychological Association defines a society as an enduring social group living in a particular place whose members are mutually interdependent and share political and other institutions, laws and mores, and a common culture. Harm refers to any negative or adverse impact that a person experiences as a result of an action or a situation. and it takes many forms, including psychological, emotional, financial, and social, according to the National Health Service or the NHS in England. And good is defined as something of high quality, standard, or level by the Collins Dictionary. With these definitions in mind, we, the proposition, interpret the moot as this: that the rapid shift in women's role without systemic reform has caused more imbalance and suffering than it has progress. This is not a critique of women's worth or the right to progress. Rather, it is a reflection of how rapid unstructured change has led to unintended social consequences. As early as 1996, Sheila Stewart, in her peer-reviewed article, Female-Headed Families, a comparative perspective of the Caribbean and developed world, described Caribbean women as the backbones of their households. She emphasized that the traditional roles of women have long since been to cook, clean, wash, care for children, in addition to birthing them, and also care for elderly parents. Today, women are expected to not only shoulder this burden, but also to contribute to the economy and maintain their domestic traditional roles. And these additional burdens lead to mental health issues, in most cases as cited by the World Economic Forum in 2024. And according to a report in 2014, report by the Economic Commission for Latin America and the Caribbean, women spend 19.6% of their days on unpaid domestic care, compared to just 7.3% for men. And when this is paired with a full-time job, it means that women are working 3 times more than men, inside and outside of the home. So, what does this unrealistic expectation look like? It shows up in hospital records, in therapy sessions, and in broken homes. A 2022 systematic study by the University of Melbourne shows that consistent gender disparities in unpaid labor directly link this double burden to increased rates of depression, anxiety, and burnout among working women. We have a dream. Should a woman decide to work, there should be society and policies and systems in place that allows her the freedom to nurture her children without sacrifice. Yes, women's progress fuels the economy, but at what cost? Must every achievement come with anxiety? Every promotion come with guilt? Is this equality, or is this quiet suffering? Until policies evolve and support structures catch up, these new roles will not empower, they will continue to exhaust. And that, Madam Chair, is why we believe that this change has done more harm than good. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shaname. We'll now have the first speaker of the opposition representing the St. Joseph Law Society, Ms. Rikita Ambrose.
Honorable judges, Madam Moderator, members of the proposition. Forgive me if I don't begin with the pleasantries, but how can one so politely respond to a moot that is so boldly absurd? How can I calmly introduce myself when the proposition dares to propose that the changing roles of women in society have done more harm than good? My name is Rikita Ambrose, the first speaker of the opposition. Team and I firmly, if not clear, firmly oppose the moot that reads, the changing roles of women in society has done more harm than good. The key terms are defined by the Oxford Dictionary as follows. Changing roles. These refers to shift from traditional domestic roles to increased participation in work, education, and public life. Society is defined as a community of people with shared values, institutions, and customs. Gender equality refers to the equal rights and opportunities for all genders, and patriarchy refers to a social system where men hold primary power and authority. Today, my second speaker, Brendan Prince, will address the local relevance of this moot. My third speaker, Ms. Daly, will summarize our key points, reinforce our case, and emphasize the local relevance and conclude with a call to action. Let us not be fooled by the fear of change. In Guyana and across the Caribbean, the evolving roles of women has shown undeniable progress from the rice fields of the Essequibo to the courtrooms in Georgetown. Women are reshaping our nation, not through harm, but through vision, through precision, through strength, the strength that we came out with from our mother's womb. The idea that their advancements have done more harm than good is not only disrespectful, but it is a reluctant and illiterate claim that completely combats the social justice system. Members of the proposition, we cannot be told any truth because the truth is when women rise, society rises with them. I reference Kamala Prasad, the re-elected Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, who is the first and only woman to have ever returned to office. Here in Guyana, women currently hold nearly 43.6% of the parliamentary seats, according to the UN data from 2024. An impressive indication that participation in national decision making is not prohibited by the fact that I am a woman. The World Bank Gender Statistics from 2023 report that women made up over 40% of the labor force, playing critical roles in agriculture, education, and public service. In education studies done by the Florida International University in 2024 revealed that girls in the Caribbean are outperforming boys. Females are approximately 8.5 percentage points more likely to come out in national examinations like CSEC rather than boys. Honorable judges, empowered women empower families, and empowered women have pushed our country towards a more balanced and inclusive future. I stand here today as a testament to this narrative. It is these very evolutionary, or as the proposition would argue, more harmful change that I am able to stand here and every other young woman, a part of the Speaker's Regional National Youth Debate, is able to have this opportunity. Otherwise, I suppose I'd be locked in a thrilling sandwich making contest, tournament in best in bread. And how dare we insinuate that all women volunteer to this change when some were forced to step up to these positions because fathers decided they had better things to do than carry their own responsibilities, uplift their own roles. Were we supposed to wait to be safe? I leave you ponder that. These women didn't step up into power, honorable judges, because they wanted to disrupt tradition, but because tradition failed them. According to the 2019 UNICEF report on family and child welfare, nearly 2 out of 3 fathers are present and fulfilling their responsibilities. If it is that we want to say the change in roles of women has done more harm than good, then fix it, Felix, and build a society where women choose to change their roles and are not forced to by the absence of whom is supposed to be the head of the household. Honorable judges, society has made their bed. They must lay in it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rikita. We'll now have the second speaker of the proposition, Ms. Serena Hope, representing the Rumveldt Life Improvement Center Youth Ministry.
Dr. Cheryl Ziegler captures our crisis perfectly. Empowering women without transforming the systems around them only shifts the burden without solving the problem. That's not just theory. It's reality many families live today. Madam Chair, distinguished judges, respected opposition audience, good afternoon. As the second speaker for the proposition, I will demonstrate the change in roles of women in society have done more harm than good, eroding family structure, fragmenting society, and impacting child well-being. Back in 1848, The Declaration of Sentiments was signed as the first major women's rights convention in New York. According to the U.S. National Archive 2023, Elizabeth Cady Stanton did not demand that women abandon their roles, but to have agency and dignity within them. That pursuit of equity, not erasure, has been lost in modern reinterpretations. In today's fast-paced world, Virgil Walker of Pew Research 2024 argues that some strands of feminism equate domesticity with weakness, but in glorifying ambition alone, we've undervalued the stability that family once provided. This crisis is not theoretical, it's global. In South Korea, a research scholar of East Asia Studies, Mengo Gale, noted in 2024 that women are opting out of motherhood altogether. The government, alarmed by plunging birth rates, has responded with policy reforms. And so I ask, if the change in roles were not disruptive, would governments be intervening in this urgently? As traditional roles blur, so does societal cohesion. Dr. Bradford Wilcock from the Institute for Family Studies highlights that weakening nuclear families leads to more dysfunction. A stable society begins with a stable home, and when that crumbles, so does the community. Take the rise for the rich auntie syndrome, a social trend where women forego marriage and children for career and leisure. While glamorized on social media, psychologists warn it often reflects deeper isolation masked as freedom. And what about the silent victims? UNICEF's 2020 report shows that in societies where both parents work full-time or where fathers are absent, children suffer depression, anxiety, and attention disorders. Dr. Ziegler called this the emotional displacement. Why? Because children grow up connected to devices, not their parents. Members of the house, we are not attacking women, working women. It's a plea for balance. Society must recognize that every choice comes with trade-offs. When a mother works full-time, the system should support her, not make her choose between her paycheck and her child's well-being. What is the value of economic progress if the family, the bedrock of society, is in ruin? You may say the change in roles of women bring diversity, but we say the wrong D is at play. In such an imbalanced system, it is not diversity, it is destruction. We do not see healthy empowerment, but we see erasure of what made our society strong, of what once held our homes and our hearts together. Progress is not only progress, progress is only progress, when no one is left behind. Not the mother, not the father, and certainly not the children. Let us build a future where strength does not come from sacrifice, but from support. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Serena. We will now have the second speaker of the opposition, Mr. Brendan Prince, representing the St. Joseph Law Society.
You miss the good old days when women had fewer rights and were seen as incubators for childbirth. An astute observation I've made thus far is citing that the entirety of the proposition panel are women. If that isn't proof which opposes the motion that the changing roles of women in society have done more harm than good, then should we proceed any further? In education, a 2018 report solicited from the World Bank titled Missed Opportunities, the High Cost of Not Educating Girls, says limited educational opportunities for girls cost countries between 15 to 30 trillion dollars in lost lifetime productivity earnings. And we all know what that money could be used for. In politics, a 2018 article solicited from the United Nations Women titled Revisiting Rwanda, 5 years after record-breaking parliamentary election says Rwanda achieved a record-breaking 64% of parliamentary seats held by women. In public health, the World Health Organization notes that mortality has declined by 38% since the year 2000 due to women's access to education, employment, and healthcare. According to a 2021 article published by the Department of Public Information, the Minister of Human Services and Social Security, Dr. Vindhya Prasad, says women must see themselves as winners, according to the Women's Gender and Equality Commission. In 1979, the world came together to adopt CEDAW, the UN's bold declaration that women deserve equality in every corner of society. And yet here we are, decades later, debating whether the changing roles of women in society have done more harm than good. Really? In 1980, Guyana ratified CEDAW, committing to end all forms of discrimination against women. So explain to us, respected proposition, how progress is harmful when our nation signed up for it 45 years ago. No, by this point, I probably insinuate an anticipated counteraction. But any point promoted in advocating towards an incondite moot as such is a counteraction and none which I will justify or sympathize with. Quoting Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie, we teach our girls to shrink themselves, to make themselves smaller. We say to girls, you can have ambition, but not too much. Honorable judges, quoting Hillary Clinton, human rights are women's rights, and women's rights are human rights once and for all. Honorable judges, respected proposition, and esteemed spectators. You don't need me to obtain yet more proof which mitigates the notion that the changing roles of women in society does more harm than good. The fact that you are all here is the proof. You are the proof. You are evidential, and it stands as this. This moot would have held more weight if it weren't so objective to women carrying their own. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brendan. We'll now have the third speaker of the proposition, Ms. Chantel Davis Daniels, representing the Rumvelt Life Improvement Center Youth Ministry, making her presentation.
Our society thrives on balance, not just equality in numbers, but stability in outcomes. As Dr. Rhonda R. Sharp warns, and I quote, when one gender rises and while the other stagnates, society suffers a deficit, not just inequality, but instability. Madam Chair, honorable judges, esteemed opposition and audience, good afternoon. It is a telling irony that the opposition dares to question whether women's collective advancement has come at an unseen cost. As the proposing third speaker, I vehemently reaffirm that the changing roles of women in society has done more harm than good. The first speaker showed that unsupported dual roles cause women emotional strain, while our second speaker argued that rapid gender shifts have weakened families and harmed children. I now present two ripple effects: male underachievement and rising domestic conflict. Women's empowerment should have been matched with support for our boys, but instead, many are left without discipline, mentorship, or support to succeed. The Caribbean Policy Development Center 2021 report titled The Impact of Gender Inequality in Caribbean Development observed that this imbalance had led to male disengagement both in school and home life. This trend is clearly reflected in education. According to the Inter-American Development Bank's 2019 report titled Boys on Achievement in Education, girls consistently outperform boys in exams and graduation, despite both beginning school at similar rates. The root of the problem: family structures are destabilized by unbalanced gender shifts, where mothers overfunction and fathers disappear, leaving boys to drift. So we're not just seeing underperformance, we're witnessing a social imbalance. The instability extends into the home. Shriana's Dhanraj 2021 study, Male Backlash and Female Guilt, found that working women were more likely to experience intimate partner violence. When women gain power without society empowering men to evolve alongside them, some respond not with growth, but with resistance and tragically violence. In Guyana, the 2019 Women's Health and Life Experiences Survey revealed that 55% of women have faced violence, emotional, financial, or physical. As women gain power, some men, unprepared to adapt, respond with aggression. Therefore, I ask, what happens when we lift one gender but leave the other behind? When we speed up change but leave minds and systems stuck in the past? The answer is already unfolding. Boys falling behind, families breaking apart, and violence rising. This is not women's fault. It's society's failure to evolve with them. Let me be clear. We do not reject empowerment. We reject imbalance. We do not deny women opportunity. We deny the idea that their rise must come at the cost of others. To close, I leave you with this. Social change demands balance. When progress moves faster than society's ability to adapt, the result is harmony. The result is not harmony, but harm. Until systems evolve alongside women, the consequences will continue to outweigh the gains. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chantel. We'll now have the third speaker of the opposition representing the St. Joseph Law Society, Ms. Rakaya Boy Daly, making her presentation.
Say a pleasant good afternoon. But if the change in roles of women in society does more harm, then this concludes my presentation. My dear esteemed proposition, we are not here to entertain the idea that the change in roles of women have caused harm. No, we are here to prove that this statement has no merit in today's society. We are here to completely dismantle this statement because it's clear that society is still stuck in the past. It's clear that they're still clinging to what no longer serves us. Honorable judges, if I were to stand here and give all the achievements women have made in this society, I'd be here a whole decade. So let me pike it on a bit. The proposition argues that the change in role does more harm. Tell that to the millions of successful women in today's society and the women present here today who would not be here without the change in roles. Now, the proposition may want to argue that because of the change in rules, men feel displaced and unemployed. However, the statistics says otherwise. According to Statista in 2024, an article named The Number of Employees Worldwide from 1991 to 2023 by gender states that there is estimated to be approximately 3.5 billion people employed worldwide, with 2.1 billion being men and 1.4 being women. To argue that women now face double burden of balancing work and home, stating that it may lead to stress, burnout, and unrealistic expectations. However, this is a transitional challenge, not permanent harm. According to Cogent Infotech, there is an increased access to affordable childcare and shift in societal expectations around gender roles. The problem is not women working. The problem is the outdated structures that expect women to do everything. Women's rights are not special privileges. They are fundamental human rights. And for far too long, women were excluded from full participation in society. The change in roles corrected that injustice. In closing, let's remember this saying: empowering women is not about taking power from men. It's about sharing power with everyone for the benefits of all. Our first speaker emphasized women's strength through leadership, education, and work. Our second speaker stressed that the presence and progress of women today are proof of the benefits of changing roles. And I, the third speaker, argued that women should have the freedom and right to choose what they want. Changing women's role is progress, not harm, and society should support it, not resist it. If empowering women is harmful, maybe we should redefine what good really means. Just look at the women who have changed the landscape of this nation. Miss Priya Manachan, Honorable Dr. Vindhya Prasad, Honorable Miss Susan Rodriguez, and so many more trailblazing women who prove that the change in roles bring not harm, but hope, progress, and power. To women out there, always remember, we are smart and beautiful. Therefore, we build, we rise, and we lead. That is not harmful. That is progress. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rakaya. At this time, we will allow the teams 5 minutes to prepare their rebuttals, and I'll ask the Public Relations Officer of the Parliament Office, Mr. Yannick December, to take us through the rules of the competition.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. The rules of the Speakers Regional Youth Debating Competition 2025 are as follows. Participants must be present at least 10 minutes before the commencement of the debate. Lateness without reasonable cause will result in automatic disqualification. Each team should consist of 3 substantive debaters and at least 1 alternate debater. Once a team has started the competition, no member shall be replaced. Notice of the unavailability of a member or alternate must be communicated to the Parliament Office at least 48 hours before the team's scheduled debate. Failure to comply may result in the disqualification of the team. Each team must indicate its first, second, and third speakers at least 48 hours before the commencement of the debate. The first speaker will be the first speaker of the proposition, followed by the first speaker of the opposition, and shall alternate in this order. The time allotted to each speaker will be as follows. First speaker, 5 minutes. Second speaker, 4 minutes. Third speaker, 4 minutes. And for the rebuttal, 5 minutes. The rebuttal will be done by only the first speaker on each team. No new arguments or materials should be introduced into the rebuttal. Failure to adhere to this rule will result in the deduction of 10 points. A bell will be rung first to indicate that the speaker should commence his or her presentation. The second bell will indicate that 1 minute is remaining, and there will be a final bell when the time has elapsed. 5 points will be deducted from each speaker who does not adhere to the allotted time. In the event of technical difficulties, a speaker may be allotted additional time. This is at the discretion of the judges. Speakers may refer to notes but should not read them. 5 points will be deducted from any speaker who reads a prepared speech. Points will be awarded for reasoning and logic, originality, relevance, mechanics, articulation, attitude towards opponent, development of argument, and cohesiveness. And finally, the judges' decisions are final. Those are the rules of the Speakers Regional Youth Debating Competition 2025. To all participating teams, I say, go to your destiny. Thank you, Madam Moderator.
Thank you very much, Yannick. This debate wraps up the 3rd Speakers Regional Youth Debating Competition, and it certainly has been a very fulfilling event, bringing you 39 debates from youths throughout our beautiful land. As we proceed to the national competition in the upcoming week, we are encouraged and look forward to it with much anticipation. Every group has had the opportunity to receive vital, constructive criticisms as well as advice from our very competent judges, and it is our hope that they take this with them as they move on to the next competition as well as in their future debating endeavors. They've also benefited from the support of you, our loyal viewers. At this time, I will share with you the groups which have secured their places in the fifth Speakers National Youth Debating Competition. From Region 1, we have the Mabaruma Rising Youth Group and the Quadra Thinkers Youth Group. From Region 2, we have the Essequibo Technical Institute Challengers and the Queens Youth Group. From Region 3, we have New Life Youth Flame Youth Group. From Region 4, the University of Guyana African Cultural Association, the Upper East Coast Youth Federation, the University of Guyana Women in Law Association, the Cummings Lodge Youth Movement Youth Group, the Gen Advocates Youth Group, and from Region 5, we have the Bijeville Secondary School Youth Group. From Region 6, we have the University of Guyana Berbice Campus Orators Mastery Society Group, the University of Guyana Teen Campus Biology Club, and the Golden Ohm Dharmic Youth Organization. From Region 9, we have the St. Robert Balamine Catholic Church Youth Group. And from District 11, so far, we have the Eloquence Assemble and the Policy Forum Guyana Youth Arm, as well as the Queen's College Debate and Literary Society. Congratulations to these groups, and let me remind you that the group which comes out successful in this match will join them as well. To the groups which did not come out successful in their matchups, we commend you for your efforts and boldness in representing not only your groups, but your regions, and we encourage you to continue aspiring to be the best that you can be. Be reminded that the winners of the first round of the national competition, the 10 groups, will be given an opportunity to participate in the National Youth Parliament. This year, the Parliament of Guyana will be hosting the 10th Annual Youth Parliament, which is slated to be launched on August 12th, International Day of the Youth. We will now have the first rebuttal from the St. Joseph Law Society being done by Ms. Rikita Ambrose.
Protocols adopted. Let me be clear. Women's rights are not a special privilege. What truly causes harm is not the changing roles of women in society, honorable judges, but the resistance to this change. For generations, women were denied their basic human right, their potential wasted, their voices silenced. But today they have that opportunity to become doctors, leaders, politicians, lawyers. Society has grown stronger, smarter, and more valuable just because women finally decided to stand up. If that is what we are going to call harm, then let the damage continue. The inclusion of women have expanded our workforces, increased productivity, and driven innovation globally. More perspectives equal better results. Honorable judges, if you have daughters, imagine telling them, you can be anything you want, but only if it doesn't make another person uncomfortable. Imagine telling her, okay, have ambition, love, but only when it stays in the kitchen, in the house, behind the doors, not too loud. Crazy, right? Why are we debating whether women stepping into their full potential is harmful? Wouldn't the real harm be holding them back? The first speaker stated that women struggle due to the strain of mental effects on balancing a work life and a home life. But honorable judges, it takes two to tango. Where is the help? Again, women's right is not a special privilege. The first speaker further insinuated that these burnouts affect the children in the household. But fathers can change diapers too. The second speaker The second speaker stated that the eroding family structure is a great cost for women being empowered, but women empowerment never stated that children should be left behind. As a matter of fact, women empowerment promotes healthy lifestyle, healthy decisions, and most importantly, choice. As my third speaker stated, the statistics are there to prove women dominate as much as men can dominate. So why then is there this lapse? Why then is there the notion that women rising up means men left behind? That is not what true equality stands for. The third speaker stated that women empowerment tails back to, like I stated previously, men's fallback in society. But members of the proposition, it is not the women's responsibility to ensure that the men decide to take in a proper education, but it indeed is a mother's responsibility to ensure that her children are well educated. And these responsibilities are duly incorporated by both women and men. The roles of women has contributed to the increase of a country's GDP. The roles of women changing in society has increased so many other perspectives, so many other possibilities, not only for the society of today, but for the society of tomorrow. Members of the proposition, look into the spectators. How many young girls do we see? Can we really tell them to look into a mirror and remind yourself that anytime you choose to step out of the domestic patriarchal comfort zone, you are causing harm? Honorable judges, I leave you with this. If women becoming empowered, if women empowerment equates to harm, then take me off of the hospital bed. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rikita. We'll now have the rebuttal coming from the proposition, the Rumvelt Life Improvement Center Youth Ministry, which will be done by Ms. Shanome Milling.
Madam Chair, esteemed judges, worthy oppositions, and attentive audience, I rise once again. The opposition has asked us to admire the beauty of progress, but we ask you to consider its foundation. Because when we peel back the layers of economic statistics and social slogans, what we uncover is a reality that our team has laid bare. That the changing roles of women, the introduced without proper social reform, has led to emotional exhaustion, family fragmentation, and social imbalance. And while the opposition celebrates growth, we urge you to look at what is left behind. The first speaker of the opposition began by claiming that the changing roles have expanded human potential. She stated that 43.6% of parliament seats are carried by women, and we are not denying these amazing accomplishments, but we are also saying that women are forced to carry all of these roles at once. They're forced to be caretakers, breadwinners, mothers, managers, all of this while systems remain unchanged. And the result, as I shared from my research from the University of Melbourne systematic review, that there is an alarming rise in burnout, depression, and anxiety among women. Expanding potential means nothing if it is breaking the very people that is carrying the weight. And sandwich making contests? How dare the opposition make a mockery of traditional roles? Must I remind you that many women are faced with the reality of carrying out these tasks in addition to working? The second speaker of the opposition went on to present women's changing roles as a victory for justice and human rights. But our second speaker, referencing Dr. Cheryl Ziegler, warned that empowering women without transforming the systems around them doesn't solve the problem. It only shifts the burden. Yes, women have more freedom on paper, but in reality, they are drowning in the expectations without institutional support. And true justice is something that uplifts, not weighs them down. The opposition praise how these changing roles inspires young girls. The second speaker even went on to state that women are expected to have ambition, but not too much. And they also stated that the women's empowerment didn't match women's empowerment didn't match boys' empowerment. But our third speaker demonstrated that while our daughters may be rising, our sons are falling. Boys are disengaged from schools, drifting without moral models or direction. The Inter-American Development Bank confirms this trend. Why? Because women are told to rise and society has not equipped men to adapt. When one gender soars and the other one is stagnated, we do not get empowerment, but we get imbalance. In fact, when the opposition went on to mention that when men have been displaced and women should not be responsible for the performance of men, our third speaker countered that with sobering data. A 2021 study showed that while working women are more likely to experience intimate partner violence. So when these women are soaring, it puts women in a position where they are more likely to experience intimate partner violence. In Guyana, over 55% of women have reported emotional, financial, or physical abuse. And that's because women have become stronger. It's not because women have become stronger, but it's because society have failed to counteract and to help these men evolve alongside them. And finally, the third speaker of the opposition suggested that systems are catching up. But the facts that I present today contradict that. Women still perform nearly 3 times more unpaid domestic work than men, and mental health services are overwhelmed. Parental leave, flexible hours, and childcare access remain patchy or inaccessible among societies, and the system has not caught up. It is even started to run. So, Madam Chair, we do not reject the values of changing rules, but we oppose them when women are left to carry the load alone. We do not question progress. We question a progress that trades personal space for public praise. And together, we've shown that until society is ready, truly ready, and these systems evolve, roles are rebalanced, and homes are supported, this shift is not going to empower women, but it would exhaust them. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Shadowme, for your presentation. As we allow the judges a few moments to tabulate their scores and then give us an announcement, let me just inform you that we are being visited this afternoon in the chamber by grades 9 and 10, students from grades 9 and 10 of Camille's Academy. Good afternoon and welcome to you. We hope you enjoy the debate and we look forward to seeing some of you maybe participating in the future in our debating competition. Let me remind you, our judges, our chief judge is Miss Melissa Dow Richardson. She's a former multidisciplined national athlete in the areas of basketball and tennis, and she is a certified sports administrator and doping control officer, and is Guyana's first and only level 2 female table tennis coach. She's a graduate of St. Stanislaus College, University of Guyana, University of the West Indies, American University of Peace Studies, and the Caribbean Leadership Program. She is currently the Assistant Director of Sport at the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sport, National Sports Commission. Our second judge is Dr. Jermaine Hatton. Jermaine is a medical doctor and a University of Ghana lecturer in the School of Medicine in the areas of immunology, chemical pathology, and academic writing. He also holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Medical Technology and a Master's degree in International Public Health from the Liverpool University. He participated in Youth Parliament in 2019, where he was awarded the Speaker's Award for his exceptional performance. And in 2020, he represented Guyana at the Commonwealth Youth Parliament. In 2022, he received the University of Guyana Council of the University of Guyana Prize for the student that has made the greatest contribution to the university in other areas of university life. And I should also mention that Jermaine is one of our dedicated mentors for Youth Parliament. And our final judge is Dr. Camille Dioki Gorak. She's an esteemed educator and visionary leader with almost 30 years of experience in the education sector. She is the academic director and CEO of Camille's Academy, Inc., one of Guyana's largest and most prestigious private schools. Dr. Dioki Gorak holds a master's degree in business administration and was recently conferred with an honorary doctorate from Maryland State University while receiving a global award for holistic education at the World School Summit. She's a director for Women in Energy Guyana and is past president of Action Invest Toastmasters Club and is also Peace Ambassador of the Universal Peace Federation Guyana chapter. Judges, are we ready? I'll start with Dr. Camille Dioki Gorak for her comments, and then we'll move along.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. All right, so let's start in terms of our constructive feedback. The things that we have noticed, I'm just going to try to summarize in the interest of time. For our proposing team, the first speaker, you were just on point. I love your voice modulation. Your pitch was beautiful. First speaker for the opposition team as well. However, we saw a decline in that as we get to the second speaker, where we saw some persons were actually racing through their speeches. You have to understand that appropriate pausing is very, very important. Two things we must be mindful of that carries the most points in this debating competition. And just to let you know, there are no winners and losers. Either you win or you learn. So for those who will be advancing to the national level, congratulations. You'll hear that from the chief judge. For the persons who are not so fortunate, use this as an opportunity to learn, as a stepping stone to grow and get better, because I can see a bright future ahead as you advance in this arena. One of the things I must mention is in terms of development of points, that carries 15 points. And sometimes I see persons don't put a lot of emphasis on that. It's very, very important that you put a lot of focus. And if you can think of the Peel method, where you make your point, you make sure you state appropriate, examples and evidence of research. There's also another point within that, whereas you explain, you make sure you explain very clearly. That comes under articulation, and you link your points back into your moot. So think of the Peel method when you are focusing on that area that carries a lot of points. Another area is mechanics, that carries 15 points as well. Mechanics talks about your pronunciation, grammar. We listen for grammatical infractions, your eye contact. I'm going to close off here by actually making reference to a very intelligent woman on my immediate right. 1 year ago, she introduced me to the 3 R's. And that is, you research well. And as you research, you rehearse. As you rehearse more, you tend to remember more and you read less. Always remember, every time you rehearse, it's an opportunity to keep repeating. And we know repetition is the mother of all learning. So congratulations to the winner. And I wish you all the best as you advance to the national round.
Good afternoon. I must say congratulations to both teams for showing up today. For the first time, I probably don't know exactly what I'm going to say here. It's not because I don't have a lot to say, but I probably have too much to say. So I will choose my words very, very wisely. And I'll say that I came today to this debate to probably hear more about how the changing roles of women have led to an erosion of the family. And if we are to understand that statement, a lot of our issues in our society today is because our family is failing. While one speaker spoke about it, I wanted to hear more. We heard a statement, a question being asked, where are the men? And it's very important, and I wish that speaker continued along that point, because we cannot talk about the roles of women changing being harmful without asking what caused the change of women, the roles of women, and what is the result of that change. What is happening in a relationship on the other side with the men? So it goes, like I said, it's a very emotional topic, and I wish not to continue on it, but I'm happy that the Parliament Office brought this. This topic has the capacity of sparking a national conversation. Because if you look on the panel here today, I am the only man represented. If we look in the debating realm, we only have one of the six participants being male. Where are the men? It's not because the population is a deficit of men. Men are equally, if probably not more, in every subgroup of age in our demographics. So there is not a shortage of men. But what is causing our men to shy away? That's a bigger conversation. And this topic here today can spark a national conversation on asking where are the men and what is causing the men's role to change. We can't blame women for adapting to the change. But what caused the change? And what is the change causing as a result? And the change is causing an erosion of our family structure. And an erosion of our family structure is causing so many issues in every faculty of our country today. Very, very thought-provoking topic. I like what I've heard. I think I do believe once I was a little bit too emotional for my liking, but I see the passion there. And while we want to announce winners and losers today, we are all winners because we have learned something in this debate. Congratulations.
Outstanding feedback from the panel. Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone, to the teams, to the debating team, certainly to Parliament, to everyone who's watching and will watch this. Remarkable, remarkable afternoon. I have a few points, so I'm just going to get right into it quickly. In the first instance, and this is for the teams, but additionally for the nationals that will be coming up, this is a debating competition, not a reading competition. So reading, or we can all sit and read and modulate our voices, but debating has techniques and various skills. So it's not a reading competition, it's a debating competition. Secondly, if you're gonna use an acronym or call on a treaty or whatever, you can't just use the acronym, you have to tell us what it is. And so I had the acronym here and I heard it, but I didn't hear what the acronym stood for. So CEDAW is the 1979 Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. It's a UN treaty. It's one of the most recognized treaties in addition to the Treaty on Children. But the CEDAW is one of it has leveraged the capacity for women to excel and establish ourselves in various ways. So if you're going to use and reference a critical document, you have to tell us what it is. And the CEDAW, the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women, is just really critical to any debate in this or any discussion. Thirdly, I didn't hear UN Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is gender equality. And if we're addressing this, you have to look at, I heard reference to Guyana, the Caribbean came up and there were global references. So the structure of the debate scripts that came forward and that were presented were fine. But we're going forward and 2030 is our next deadline. And goal 5, gender equality, is critical. So the absence of that is a gap area for the research. Notwithstanding, I like the point that empowering women is not about taking power away from men. Right? This is critical and it's about leveraging. And so we have to figure out where in the change we're missing certain things. So point well taken. Point 5, rebuttals, rebuttals, rebuttals. It will come down to the rebuttals sometimes. And so continue to refine and upgrade your rebuttal skills because this was critical and this afternoon it did have a presence and I appreciate both rebuttals that came forward. And my final point is the psychological impact of change. And that came across. I really appreciate the research and the reference to psychological theorists and researchers, because at this level, and certainly when we were imparting, it's not about our opinions. It's about facts based on research that has been backed up by theories, and we can implement them. And as Judge Hatton shared, this can very well spark a national conversation that continues to develop our country in a provocative way. So the psychological impact of change came out in this debate, and I appreciate it because I'll say what, I came here thinking, good luck to the proposition. because we as women, we're taking over and we're doing it and it's all the world's a better place and da 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 da. And then something magical happens. So thank you to both teams and to both debating teams for everything you've brought forward. And now it's my duty to give the scores as agreed by the judging panel. We agree that today's best debater is Miss Rikita Ambrose, first speaker of the proposition. Congratulations. Well done. Outstanding. Well done, dear. And so it comes down to who's moving on to the nationals this afternoon. And thank you for your research. Our scores are compiled, and we have 199.5 to 212.5. And so this afternoon's winner is the proposition, the Rheinbelt Life Improvement Youth Ministry. Congratulations, young ladies. You guys did it. You brought it home. Madam Moderator, thank you for the debate. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you to our judges, our viewers, our participants, and we thank you for your loyal support throughout this competition. And we look forward to having you join us again in the national competition next week.
Thank you.